Hi, this is Gary from the Wisdom Center. I believe you are doing well this Christmas, and I believe you are ready for the Word of God. Let's go down to 2 Samuel chapter 6 and verse 5. David and the whole house of Israel were celebrating with all their might before the Lord with songs and with harps, lyres, tambourines, sistrums, and cymbals. In other words, they were all rejoicing. They were all doing the right thing before God, like everybody rejoices. And then the situation changes. Verse 6, when they came to the threshing floor of Nacon, Uzzah reached out and took hold of the ark of God because the oxen stumbled. Verse 7, the Lord's anger burned against Uzzah because of his irreverent act. Therefore God struck him down and he died there beside the ark of God. Verse 8, then David was angry because the Lord's wrath had broken against Uzzah, and to this day that place is called Perez Uzzah. Verse 9, David was afraid of the Lord that day and said, how can the ark of the Lord ever come to me? The ark of God is what carried the presence of God. The ark of God is what actually carried the Spirit of God. Because now on the day of Pentecost, the Spirit of the Lord came as of a rushing mighty wind. So the wind of God came, the Spirit of God came, and there was tongues as of fire that was seen upon each of them, and they were all filled with the Holy Spirit. So the presence of God, the Spirit of God, dwelt inside the Ark of the Covenant. Let's go on. Verse 9, David was afraid of the Lord that day and said, how can the Ark of the Lord ever come to me? Verse 10, he was not willing to take the Ark of the Lord to be with him in the city of David. Instead, he took it aside to the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. He didn't realize that the Ark of the Covenant, carrying the presence of God, is what brought the prosperity in his life. He didn't realize it. At that moment, he was just like, let me take the Ark of the Covenant and let me drop it off. Like many people that don't know the Lord. So this is not for those that don't know the Lord. This is for those that are willing to prosper, for those that want the presence of God in their lives in order to prosper. So let's go back to verse 10. He was not willing to take the ark of the Lord to be with him in the city of David. Instead, he took it aside to the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. Verse 11, the ark of the Lord remained in the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite for 3 months. Okay, for 3 months. How fast will it take for you to become rich? Let's read that. For 3 months. And the Lord blessed him and his entire household. Now, if you go to a king, you're not going to tell the king, oh, the Lord blessed that guy. You know? The Lord blessed Obed. If it was something small, if it was a small blessing. When you go to a king, it's got to be something big. And the word of God says, from the comma it says, and the Lord blessed him and his entire household. Verse 12, now King David was told, the Lord has blessed the household of Obed-Edom and everything he has before the ark of God. So David went down and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obed-Edom to the city of David with rejoicing. So in other words, what brought this blessing was the Ark of the Covenant. What was inside the Ark of the Covenant was what brought this blessing. In other words, the presence of God inside of the Ark of the Covenant, the Spirit of God inside of the Ark of the Covenant